The late 10th century marked a pivotal era in Norse history, specifically during the Viking Age, a period of unprecedented expansion and exploration across the North Atlantic. This was a time when Norse seafarers, traders, and settlers pushed the boundaries of their known world, venturing into uncharted territories with remarkable courage and determination. The story of Erik the Red unfolds across three distinctive Nordic territories: Norway, Iceland, and Greenland. Born as Erik Thorvaldsson in Norway around 950 CE, his early life was shaped by the rugged Norwegian landscape, with its dramatic fjords cutting deep into the coastline and snow-capped mountains rising majestically from the sea. The harsh beauty of his birthplace would later influence his ability to recognize the potential in similarly challenging landscapes. When Erik's family relocated to Iceland during his childhood, they encountered a raw, untamed island that had only been settled by Norse people for about a century. Iceland's volcanic terrain, with its black sand beaches, steaming geothermal vents, and vast ice fields, presented both challenges and opportunities for the Viking settlers. The island's settlement pattern, characterized by scattered farmsteads and small communities, reflected the Norse people's adaptability to harsh environments. The landscape that surrounded these early settlers was both breathtaking and formidable. Deep fjords, carved by ancient glaciers, provided natural harbors for their ships, while towering mountains covered in year-round snow created natural barriers between settlements. The Norwegian Sea and North Atlantic Ocean, with their temperamental waters, played a crucial role in Viking navigation and exploration. These waters, though treacherous, served as highways connecting different Norse settlements. Daily life in these settlements revolved around impressive longhouses, architectural marvels of their time. These structures, built from local timber and topped with thick turf roofs, provided essential shelter from the brutal Nordic winters. The longhouses were more than mere dwellings. They were the heart of Viking community life, where families gathered around central hearths, sharing meals and stories during the long winter nights. The sensory experience of these settlements was rich and distinctive. The air carried the perpetual scent of salt from the ocean, mingled with the smoke from cooking fires and the unique smell of dried fish and preserved meats hanging from rafters. The sound landscape was equally evocative. The constant howl of Arctic winds, the rhythmic crashing of waves against rocky shores, and the daily cacophony of settlement life, the ring of hammers on anvils, the bleating of sheep, and the calls of seabirds. At sea, the iconic Viking longships known as drakar were masterpieces of naval engineering. These vessels, with their distinctive dragon-head prows cutting through the icy waters of the North Atlantic, represented the Vikings' mastery over the seas. Their ability to navigate these treacherous waters using sophisticated techniques based on natural signs like the position of the sun, the behavior of birds, and the patterns of waves was crucial to their expansion across the North Atlantic. This was the world that shaped Erik the Red and set the stage for his greatest achievement, the discovery and colonization of Greenland. His journey would take him even further into the unknown, beyond the settled world of Iceland, to establish a new Norse colony on the world's largest island. This feat of exploration and settlement would not only secure his place in history, but also lay the groundwork for further Viking explorations westward, including his son, Leif Erikson's famous journey to North America. The environmental challenges faced by Erik and his followers in Greenland were even more extreme than those in Norway and Iceland. Yet it was their experience with harsh Nordic environments that enabled them to establish and maintain settlements in this new frontier, marking one of the most remarkable achievements of Viking Age exploration. Have you heard about the Viking who discovered and colonized Greenland? Get ready to learn the incredible story of Erik the Red. If you are fascinated by the Viking Age, leave a like and subscribe to the Medieval Archives channel to embark on this historical journey. The story of Greenland settlement cannot be told without understanding its central figure, Erik the Red, a man whose very name captures both his physical appearance and fierce temperament. Born Erik Thorvaldsson around 950 CE, he was instantly recognizable by his flaming red hair and beard, which earned him his famous moniker. Erik was a complex character who embodied both the virtues and flaws of the Viking age. A determined and courageous leader, yet prone to explosive bursts of anger that would ultimately shape his destiny. Standing tall and powerfully built, Erik cut an imposing figure with his long red beard and strong physique, developed through years of farming and seafaring. His personality was equally formidable. He possessed an iron will and unflinching determination, traits that would prove essential during his later explorations. However, his quick temper and tendency toward violence would repeatedly cause him trouble, eventually leading to his exile from Iceland. This exile, though, would become the catalyst for his greatest achievement. The saga of Erik cannot be told without mentioning the influential figures who surrounded him. His father, Thorvald Asvaldsson, played a crucial role in setting Erik's life path. Thorvald himself had been exiled from Norway for manslaughter, establishing a pattern of exile and new beginnings that would later repeat in his son's life. This family history of violent confrontations and forced relocations would significantly influence Erik's own journey. Perhaps the most historically significant of Erik's relationships was with his son, Leif Erikson. Leif would later surpass even his father's achievements by becoming the first European to set foot on North American soil, discovering what he would name Vinland. The father-son relationship represented a fascinating bridge between the old pagan ways and the new Christian era, as Leif would later embrace Christianity and become its messenger to Greenland. Erik's wife, Theodild, emerges as a remarkable figure in her own right. Her conversion to Christianity marked a significant cultural shift in the family dynamics. Despite Erik's steadfast adherence to the Old Norse gods, Theodild succeeded in establishing the first Christian church in Greenland. This religious divide within Erik's own household reflected the broader cultural changes sweeping through Viking society at the time. The narrative would be incomplete without mentioning Thorbjorn, Erik's rival in Iceland, whose conflict with Erik would prove pivotal. Their dispute, which escalated into violence, ultimately led to Erik's exile from Iceland, a turning point that would drive him to discover and colonize Greenland. This transformation from an exiled farmer to the founder of a new colony represents one of the most remarkable personal journeys in Viking history. Erik's story is particularly compelling because it charts his evolution from a hot-headed exile to a respected colony founder and leader. This transformation required him to temper his violent tendencies with the diplomatic skills necessary to attract settlers and establish a functioning society in one of the world's most challenging environments. His journey from outlaw to community leader reflects the complex nature of Viking society, where violence and leadership often walked hand in hand. The saga of Erik the Red presents a compelling narrative of redemption and pioneering spirit that resonates through the centuries. At its heart lies the transformative journey of a man who evolved from an exiled outlaw into a respected colonial leader. This remarkable transformation embodies one of the most fundamental aspects of the Viking Age: the possibility of reinvention through bold action and determination. The theme of redemption manifests primarily through Erik's personal evolution. After being banished from both Norway and Iceland due to violent conflicts, he managed to transmute his exile into an opportunity for greatness. Rather than allowing his banishment to destroy him, Erik channeled his fierce determination into exploration and settlement, ultimately founding a new society in one of the world's most challenging environments. This journey from disgrace to acclaim exemplifies the Viking ethos that a man's worth could be measured not just by his past actions, but by his ability to forge a new destiny. The pioneering aspect of Erik's story is equally significant. His exploration and settlement of Greenland represent the Viking spirit of adventure and expansion at its finest. The establishment of a viable colony in such an inhospitable environment demonstrated remarkable leadership skills and resourcefulness. His success in convincing others to follow him to this unknown land speaks to his charismatic leadership and his ability to inspire others to embrace the unknown. The narrative is driven by several layers of conflict that add depth and complexity to the story. The most profound is Erik's internal struggle with his own nature. His legendary temper, which earned him both his name and his exile, had to be tempered with diplomatic skills and leadership abilities necessary for founding and maintaining a colony. This internal conflict between violent impulses and the need for measured leadership creates a fascinating character study of personal growth and adaptation. External conflicts abound in Erik's story, primarily in the form of environmental challenges. The harsh Greenland climate, with its brutal winters and short growing seasons, presented constant threats to survival. The success of the settlement required not just physical courage, but also innovative solutions to problems of food production, shelter, and resource management. These challenges were compounded by the isolation of the settlement and the need to maintain vital trading links with Iceland and Norway. Perhaps most intriguing are the social conflicts that emerged within Erik's world. The tension between the old Norse religious traditions and the emerging Christian influence became particularly personal when his wife Theodild converted to Christianity. This religious divide within his own household mirrored larger cultural changes sweeping through Viking society. Erik's steadfast adherence to the old gods, while his family embraced the new faith, represents the broader cultural transitions of the era. The price of ambition and violence runs as a constant thread throughout Erik's story. His early acts of violence cost him his position in established society, forcing him to seek opportunities in uncharted territories. Yet it was perhaps this very ambition and aggressive spirit, when properly channeled, that enabled him to succeed in establishing a new colony where others might have failed. This duality, how the same traits that led to his exile also contributed to his ultimate success, adds a layer of complexity to the narrative that transcends simple moral lessons. This rich tapestry of personal redemption, pioneering achievement, and multifaceted conflict makes Erik's story particularly relevant to understanding both Viking Age society and universal human experiences. His saga demonstrates how personal flaws, when confronted and channeled properly, can become the foundation for extraordinary achievements, and how the challenge of building something new often requires both internal and external transformation. The 10th century Viking society that Erik the Red inhabited was a sophisticated and well-organized system built upon centuries of Norse tradition and practical adaptation to harsh northern environments. This social framework would prove crucial in the successful establishment of settlements in Greenland. The fundamental unit of Viking society was the family farm, or garde, which formed the backbone of their economic and social structure. These farmsteads were more than simple agricultural units. They were complex social organisms where extended families lived and worked together. Each farm typically consisted of a main longhouse, various outbuildings for livestock, workshops for crafts, and storage facilities for the long winter months. The architecture of these settlements reflected both practical needs and social hierarchies, with the main hall serving as both living space and symbol of the family's status. The legal system that governed these communities was remarkably sophisticated for its time. Central to this system was the Thing, an assembly where free men gathered to make laws, settle disputes, and conduct community business. These gatherings were not merely legal proceedings, but served as crucial social events where news was exchanged, alliances were formed, and marriages were arranged. The Thing system demonstrated the Vikings' commitment to a form of participatory governance that was unusual for its era, with decisions often requiring consensus rather than mere authority. Honor and reputation formed the currency of social standing in Viking society. A person's word was their bond, and their actions were constantly weighed against the complex code of honor that governed all aspects of life. This emphasis on personal reputation helped maintain social order in a society where formal law enforcement was minimal. The concept of niding, or loss of honor, was a fate considered worse than death, as it meant social ostracism and the loss of all legal protections. Women in Viking society enjoyed relatively high status compared to their contemporaries in other European cultures. They held property rights, could initiate divorce, and often managed farms and households while men were away on voyages. The role of women as keepers of keys symbolized their authority over household management and resources. Archaeological evidence suggests that women also participated in trade and craft production, and some even gained prominence as merchants or landowners. Agricultural practices were sophisticated and adapted to the challenging Nordic climate. Vikings practiced a mixed farming system that combined animal husbandry with crop cultivation. Cattle, sheep, and goats provided milk, meat, and wool, while barley, rye, and oats were the primary crops. The short growing season required careful planning and efficient use of resources. Innovative techniques such as fertilization with seaweed and careful crop rotation helped maximize yields from the limited arable land. Perhaps most impressive were the Vikings' maritime capabilities. Their shipbuilding technology was centuries ahead of its time, producing vessels that could navigate both deep seas and shallow rivers. The distinctive clinker-built design of Viking ships, with overlapping planks and flexible hulls, allowed for both stability in rough seas and maneuverability in various conditions. These ships were technological marvels, incorporating innovations like removable planks for variable draft and sophisticated rigging systems that allowed sailing close to the wind. Navigation techniques combined practical seamanship with keen observation of natural phenomena. Vikings used the sun's position, the North Star, bird migrations, and wave patterns to maintain direction. They also developed tools like the sun compass and sun shadow board for more precise navigation. Their understanding of weather patterns, currents, and seasonal changes was crucial for successful voyages across the North Atlantic. The social structure extended beyond individual farmsteads to create complex networks of alliance and obligation. Chieftains, or Godar, emerged as leaders, not through hereditary right, but through a combination of wealth, influence, and ability to provide for followers. This system of reciprocal obligation helped ensure social stability and provided a safety net during hard times. Trade was another crucial aspect of Viking society, with established routes connecting various Norse settlements and extending to distant lands. Regular exchange of goods helped maintain cultural ties between settlements and provided access to necessary resources. Items like iron, timber, and luxury goods moved along these trade networks, creating economic interdependencies that strengthened social bonds between communities. This complex social and economic system provided the foundation for Erik's successful colonization of Greenland. The organizational skills, agricultural knowledge, and maritime expertise developed in Norse society proved essential for establishing and maintaining settlements in such a challenging environment. The emphasis on self-reliance, combined with strong community bonds, created resilient settlements capable of surviving in extreme conditions. It's impressive how Erik managed to establish a colony in such a hostile place, isn't it? Tell us in the comments, did you know that Greenland was discovered by a Viking? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Medieval Archives for more fascinating stories. The saga of Erik the Red presents a compelling narrative of redemption and pioneering spirit that resonates through the centuries. At its heart lies the transformative journey of a man who evolved from an exiled outlaw into a respected colonial leader. This remarkable transformation embodies one of the most fundamental aspects of the Viking Age, the possibility of reinvention through bold action and determination. The theme of redemption manifests primarily through Erik's personal evolution. After being banished from both Norway and Iceland due to violent conflicts, he managed to transmute his exile into an opportunity for greatness. Rather than allowing his banishment to destroy him, Erik channeled his fierce determination into exploration and settlement, ultimately founding a new society in one of the world's most challenging environments. This journey from disgrace to acclaim exemplifies the Viking ethos that a man's worth could be measured not just by his past actions, but by his ability to forge a new destiny. The pioneering aspect of Erik's story is equally significant. His exploration and settlement of Greenland represent the Viking spirit of adventure and expansion at its finest. The establishment of a viable colony in such an inhospitable environment demonstrated remarkable leadership skills and resourcefulness. His success in convincing others to follow him to this unknown land speaks to his charismatic leadership and his ability to inspire others to embrace the unknown. The narrative is driven by several layers of conflict that add depth and complexity to the story. The most profound is Erik's internal struggle with his own nature. His legendary temper, which earned him both his name and his exile, had to be tempered with diplomatic skills and leadership abilities necessary for founding and maintaining a colony. This internal conflict between violent impulses and the need for measured leadership creates a fascinating character study of personal growth and adaptation. External conflicts abound in Erik's story, primarily in the form of environmental challenges. The harsh Greenland climate, with its brutal winters and short growing seasons, presented constant threats to survival. The success of the settlement required not just physical courage, but also innovative solutions to problems of food production, shelter, and resource management. These challenges were compounded by the isolation of the settlement and the need to maintain vital trading links with Iceland and Norway. Perhaps most intriguing are the social conflicts that emerged within Erik's world. The tension between the Old Norse religious traditions and the emerging Christian influence became particularly personal when his wife, Thjodild, converted to Christianity. This religious divide within his own household mirrored larger cultural changes sweeping through Viking society. Erik's steadfast adherence to the old gods, while his family embraced the new faith, represents the broader cultural transitions of the era. The price of ambition and violence runs as a constant thread throughout Erik's story. His early acts of violence cost him his position in established society, forcing him to seek opportunities in uncharted territories. Yet it was perhaps this very ambition and aggressive spirit, when properly channeled, that enabled him to succeed in establishing a new colony where others might have failed. This duality, how the same traits that led to his exile also contributed to his ultimate success, adds a layer of complexity to the narrative that transcends simple moral lessons. This rich tapestry of personal redemption, pioneering achievement, and multifaceted conflict makes Erik's story particularly relevant to understanding both Viking Age society and universal human experiences. His saga demonstrates how personal flaws, when confronted and channeled properly, can become the foundation for extraordinary achievements, and how the challenge of building something new often requires both internal and external transformation. The cultural and intellectual landscape of Erik the Red's era was rich with Norse mythology, maritime traditions, and practical knowledge that shaped every aspect of Viking life. At the heart of their worldview was the complex Norse mythology, which profoundly influenced Erik's decisions and those of his fellow Vikings. The gods of Asgard, particularly Odin the Wanderer and Thor the Protector, were seen as active participants in daily life, guiding the Vikings in their ventures across treacherous seas and unknown lands. Norse mythology permeated every aspect of Viking decision-making. Before embarking on major voyages or establishing new settlements, Vikings would seek signs from the gods through various forms of divination. The concept of fate or wyrd was particularly significant, with Vikings believing their destinies were intertwined with the will of the gods. This belief system gave them remarkable courage in the face of adversity, as exemplified by Erik's bold decision to explore and settle in Greenland. Viking maritime traditions represented a sophisticated body of knowledge passed down through generations. Sailors learned to read the stars, understand weather patterns, and navigate using natural indicators such as the migration of birds, the behavior of whales, and the movement of ocean currents. They developed an intimate understanding of cloud formations and their relationship to approaching weather systems, crucial knowledge for long-distance sea voyages. The Vikings' shipbuilding technology was remarkably advanced for their time. Their longships were masterpieces of naval engineering, constructed using techniques that combined flexibility with strength. The clinker-built design, where planks overlapped each other, created vessels capable of withstanding the harsh conditions of the North Atlantic while remaining light enough to be beached or carried over land when necessary. The ships featured removable planks that could be adjusted for different sailing conditions and innovative steering systems that allowed for precise navigation. Survival techniques in extreme climates were another area where Viking knowledge excelled. Erik and his followers developed sophisticated methods for insulating their homes, using double-wall construction filled with earth and innovative roofing techniques that combined wooden frameworks with turf covering. They understood the importance of site selection for settlements, choosing locations that offered natural shelter from prevailing winds and access to essential resources. The preservation of food and resources was critical for survival in Greenland's harsh environment. Vikings developed various methods for preserving meat and fish, including drying, smoking, and fermentation. They created specialized storage facilities that took advantage of natural cooling and developed techniques for preserving dairy products through the long winters. The practice of skepikjøt, air-drying meat in the cold winds, became particularly important in Greenland. Agricultural practices were adapted to function in the extreme climate. Vikings brought with them knowledge of crop rotation, soil enrichment techniques, and animal husbandry. They learned to identify and cultivate plants that could survive in the short growing season, and developed methods for protecting crops from frost and harsh winds. The management of livestock was particularly crucial, with careful attention paid to breeding programs and the storage of winter fodder. The Norse sagas that recorded Erik's story represent a remarkable intellectual achievement in themselves. These narratives combined historical documentation with literary artistry, preserving not only the events, but also the cultural context in which they occurred. The sagas were carefully composed and transmitted orally before being written down, representing a sophisticated tradition of historical preservation and storytelling. The intellectual achievements of the Vikings extended to mathematics and astronomy, crucial for navigation and timing agricultural activities. They developed systems for calculating distance at sea, understanding tides, and predicting seasonal changes. Their calendar system was sophisticated enough to plan long-term agricultural activities and coordinate trading voyages. Trading knowledge was another crucial aspect of Viking intellectual life. They developed complex systems for valuing goods, maintaining trading relationships across vast distances, and managing the logistics of long-distance commerce. This knowledge was essential for maintaining the Greenland colony's connections with Iceland and Norway, ensuring its survival through trade in valuable commodities like walrus ivory and furs. The transmission of this knowledge across generations was accomplished through a sophisticated system of apprenticeship and oral tradition. Young Vikings learned through direct observation and practice, developing skills in navigation, shipbuilding, farming, and other essential areas. This practical education system ensured the preservation and advancement of Viking technological and cultural achievements. The Norse settlements in Greenland, established by Erik the Red, became a fascinating nexus of cultural interactions, trade networks, and religious transformation. The story of these external influences reveals both the adaptability and the challenges faced by the Norse settlers in maintaining their connections with the wider world while establishing relationships with indigenous peoples. The interaction between the Norse settlers and the Inuit people represents one of the earliest documented encounters between European and Native American peoples. The Norse referred to the Inuit as Skraelings, and initial contacts were characterized by a complex mixture of trade, conflict, and mutual observation. Archaeological evidence suggests that both communities occasionally traded items. The Norse valued the Inuits' sealskins, furs, and ivory, while the Inuit sought iron tools and European goods. These cultural encounters were not always peaceful. Historical records and archaeological findings indicate periodic conflicts between the two groups, particularly as both communities competed for similar resources in Greenland's limited fertile areas. However, the relationship was more nuanced than simple antagonism. Evidence suggests that over time, the Norse began adopting some Inuit hunting techniques and tools, particularly those related to seal hunting and winter survival. This technological exchange proved crucial for the Norse colonists' adaptation to Greenland's harsh environment. Trade networks with Iceland and Norway were literally lifelines for the Greenland settlements. Regular trading voyages brought essential supplies that couldn't be produced locally: iron, timber, grain, and manufactured goods. In return, Greenland exported valuable Arctic products, including walrus ivory, polar bear pelts, live falcons, and narwhal tusks. These exotic goods were highly prized in medieval European markets, making Greenland an important, if remote, trading partner. The maintenance of these trading relationships required remarkable organizational skills and courage. Ships would make the dangerous journey across the North Atlantic during the brief summer window when ice conditions permitted passage. The success of these voyages was crucial, not only for material supplies, but also for maintaining cultural and social connections with the Norse homeland. Letters, news, and new ideas traveled along these same routes, keeping the Greenland settlements connected to broader Scandinavian culture. The arrival of Christianity marked perhaps the most significant external influence on the Greenland settlements. The process of Christianization, which began during Erik the Red's lifetime, dramatically transformed Norse society. Erik's own son, Leif Erikson, became a Christian and helped introduce the new faith to Greenland. The construction of churches, including the impressive cathedral at Gardar, demonstrated the profound impact of Christianity on the colony's social and cultural life. This religious transformation had practical implications beyond spiritual matters. The establishment of church institutions created new links with European civilization, as Greenland became part of the medieval Christian world. The church became a crucial administrative institution, managing resources and maintaining records. Archaeological evidence shows that Greenland's churches were built according to European architectural standards, indicating strong cultural connections with medieval European civilization. The Greenland settlements also played a crucial role in further Viking explorations westward. The colonies served as a stepping stone for Leif Erikson's famous voyages to North America, which led to the establishment of a temporary settlement at Los Meadows in present-day Newfoundland. These expeditions represented the furthest western expansion of medieval European civilization and demonstrated the Vikings' remarkable ability to push the boundaries of the known world. The influence of these external connections can be seen in the material culture of the Greenland settlements. Archaeological excavations have revealed a mixture of locally produced items and imported goods, showing how the colonists maintained their Norse cultural identity while adapting to local conditions. The discovery of artifacts from across the medieval world in Greenland sites demonstrates the colony's integration into vast trading networks spanning from the Arctic to the Mediterranean. Climate change eventually played a crucial role in altering these external relationships. As the medieval warm period gave way to the Little Ice Age, maintaining regular contact with Europe became increasingly difficult. The growing ice pack made navigation more dangerous, while changing weather patterns affected both local food production and the ability to maintain regular trading voyages. The legacy of these interactions continues to influence our understanding of medieval cross-cultural contact. The Greenland settlements demonstrate how medieval communities could maintain complex networks of trade and communication across vast distances, while simultaneously adapting to local conditions and interacting with indigenous peoples. The story of these external influences provides valuable insights into the dynamics of cultural exchange, adaptation, and survival in frontier societies. Modern archaeological work continues to uncover new evidence of these interactions, revealing an increasingly complex picture of life in medieval Greenland. These discoveries help us understand how the Norse settlers maintained their cultural connections with Europe while developing new relationships with the Arctic world they inhabited, creating a unique society at the edge of the medieval world. Erik the Red's legacy extends far beyond his immediate achievements, resonating through centuries of history and continuing to influence our understanding of human adaptation, exploration, and resilience. His story provides invaluable insights into both medieval history and contemporary challenges. The establishment of the first European settlement in Greenland stands as one of the most remarkable achievements of medieval exploration. Erik's success in founding and sustaining a colony in such an inhospitable environment demonstrated the extraordinary capabilities of medieval seafarers and settlers. The Norse settlements in Greenland survived for nearly 500 years, representing one of the most ambitious and long-lasting colonization efforts of the medieval period. Erik's influence on subsequent exploration cannot be overstated. As the father of Leif Erikson, who became the first European to reach North American shores, Erik established a legacy of bold exploration that would inspire generations of seafarers. The Greenland settlement served as a crucial stepping stone for further Western exploration, proving that sustained human habitation was possible far beyond the traditional boundaries of European civilization. Modern archaeological discoveries continue to reveal new aspects of Erik's legacy. Recent excavations have uncovered previously unknown aspects of Norse life in Greenland, including sophisticated farming techniques, advanced building methods, and evidence of extensive trade networks. These findings have transformed our understanding of medieval capabilities and the complexity of Viking society. The story of the Greenland settlements holds particular relevance for modern climate studies. The rise and eventual decline of these colonies coincided with significant climate changes, from the medieval warm period to the Little Ice Age. This historical example provides valuable insights into how human societies adapt to changing environmental conditions, a lesson of increasing relevance in our era of climate change. Erik's legacy also offers important lessons about cultural adaptation and survival. The Norse settlers' ability to adapt their European agricultural practices and social systems to Arctic conditions demonstrates human resilience and ingenuity. Their experience shows both the possibilities and limitations of cultural adaptation in extreme environments. Greenland's contemporary importance owes much to Erik's initial colonization. The island's strategic location, mineral resources, and role in global climate systems make it increasingly significant in modern geopolitics. The history of Norse settlement provides context for current debates about resource exploitation, sovereignty, and environmental protection in the Arctic region. Recent scientific studies of the Norse settlements have yielded valuable data about historical climate patterns, human impact on local environments, and the dynamics of sustainable resource use. Ice core samples, soil analyses, and archaeological evidence from the settlement period provide crucial information about historical climate variations and human responses to environmental change. The legacy of Erik's leadership style, transforming exile into opportunity and adversity into achievement, continues to inspire. His ability to rally people behind an ambitious vision, despite severe challenges, offers lessons for modern leadership and organizational management. The success of the Greenland colonies demonstrated the importance of strong leadership in challenging circumstances. Archaeological discoveries have also revealed the sophistication of Norse engineering and architectural practices. The ruins of churches, farms, and other structures show remarkable understanding of building techniques suitable for Arctic conditions. These achievements continue to inform our understanding of sustainable architecture in extreme environments. Erik's story has particular relevance for modern discussions about human migration and settlement. The challenges faced by the Norse settlers, adapting to new environments, maintaining supply lines, managing resources, and dealing with indigenous populations, parallel many contemporary issues in human migration and development. The preservation and study of Erik's legacy highlight the importance of historical preservation and archaeological research. Ongoing work in Greenland continues to uncover new evidence about Norse life, technologies, and social systems, enriching our understanding of both medieval history and human adaptation capabilities. Modern Greenland's cultural heritage tourism industry owes much to Erik's story. The ruins of Norse settlements attract researchers and visitors from around the world, contributing to the island's economy and cultural identity. This tourism helps preserve historical sites while educating people about medieval Norse culture and Arctic history. Perhaps most significantly, Erik's legacy reminds us of humanity's capacity for adaptation and renewal. His transformation from exiled troublemaker to successful colony founder demonstrates how adversity can become opportunity. This message of resilience and reinvention remains relevant in our rapidly changing world. The story of Erik the Red and the Greenland settlements continues to evolve as new discoveries emerge. Each archaeological finding and scientific study adds to our understanding of this remarkable chapter in human history, while reinforcing its relevance to contemporary challenges of climate change, cultural adaptation, and sustainable development in extreme environments. For historical content creators and educators, Erik's remarkable story offers endless opportunities for engaging audiences with themes of exploration, perseverance, and human adaptation. His legacy provides valuable lessons about leadership, cultural exchange, and environmental adaptation that resonate strongly with contemporary audiences. And so ends the incredible story of Erik the Red, the man who turned his exile into one of the greatest achievements of the Viking Age. If you enjoyed this journey through time, please like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the Medieval Archives channel. See you on the next historical adventure.